Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Algonquin. 8th grade students, parents, great to see you all here tonight for this important little event that kind of directs you into next year. My name's Andrew McGowan. I'm one of the assistant principals here. I will be working with the incoming freshman class next year as the 8th graders come on. Dr. Sarah Praglewski Walsh is our principal right here. She'll be up in a moment. Miss Lisa Connery is our department chair, head of guidance. Tonight, hopefully you'll have some idea of what you're in for when you come here next year, what your child's in for when they're here next year in the next 4 years, as they prepare for whatever life has after Algonquin. You'll have some time to hear about kind of graduation requirements, what goes into the course selection, as well as some informal time outside of the auditorium, which many of you have already taken advantage of, in meeting with department chairs of the different departments here at the school, as well as students, those who are right there in it, in the thick of it, whether they're freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, they've been through it, they're in it, and they can answer your questions too from their lens. To start things off tonight, we have Leah Grimblatis, who's going to speak just for a minute to kind of give you a general idea of the student life here at Algonquin and what kind of her experience has been, and then we'll get things going. Leah, come on up.
Hello, I'm a senior here at Algonquin. I'm your traditional art student. I've taken almost all the art classes here. I'm the president of the National Art Honor Society. I was voted most artistic of my class, but what's really cool and great about Algonquin is that I can be more than just your art kid. I've been able to take AP classes of all different kinds throughout Algonquin, of science, math, English. I've joined tons of different clubs while I've been here, and things that I never thought I would really join going into high school. And I think that's kind of what makes Algonquin different than other high schools. It's, even though you might have like your clique and your niche, it's a lot different because you can be part of more than just one, and you can meet different people from different cliques and different interests. And I think that's also what allows Algonquin kids more than other schools to be ready for our futures in the end, because we're not so put into this box of one interest, but we're ready to just really try anything once we graduate, once we go into college. We're already ready to try a career that maybe we didn't think we were going to want going into it, and that ends up being our real passion. The people here also are very much aware of that. You don't have like one stereotype or one group that you're expected to be a part of throughout all 4 years. And even if you're one way freshman year, chances are you'll be very different by the time you're a senior. And that's very much expected, and you won't be kind of judged or thought of negatively for changing throughout your years here. And I think that's really cool to know. So I've been this art kid all 4 years, but I've also tried new things and become all different kinds of kids, and met all new people because of it, and different teachers and different faculty members. They're also very excited about our futures. They're excited about the things that we can try, and they're excited to let us try new things, learn new things, and they want to help us find out who we really want to be, while also trying things that we probably won't stick with, but we always want to try it for a couple weeks anyways. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. I now invite Dr. Walsh up and to give you a little more about Algonquin.
I would like to expand what she shared with our parents briefly before I go on to introductions, that one of the number one things that we get to hear about our graduates when they come back to visit us is that they're the most prepared students in their college class. They talk about when they're going to start that project, take those notes, investigate, learn, create, that they feel more prepared than their peers. And so we do take seriously the well-rounded student, which is what Leah painted for us. Before I continue some logistical items, good evening. My name is Dr. Walsh. I have the opportunity to be the principal of Algonquin, which I thoroughly enjoy and cherish every day. Thank you for sharing your children with us every single day. This is being recorded, so we will send the link out to the Melican and Trotter principals. If you're from a private school, just email us. We can share the link. It's usually posted on the Northborough Cable Access. Is that correct, Ms. Connery? And they have it on the guidance website as well. So no need to write any notes. If you want to just make sure that you take the time to listen, that way you can go back and watch the video. Just some housekeeping items. Take a moment to silence your phone once we get going. I just want to make sure that no one's distracted when Ms. Connery is going over different electives, requirements, core classes. Just put it on silent. I completely understand that we need to stay in touch, but we don't want to distract our neighbor. Let me lower this a little bit more because I can't see my paper because I'm so short. One thing I wanted to point it out that I have learned, this is my second opportunity here at Algonquin. Something that I have noted, and you will hear a little bit about it tonight. You'll hear and see some of it out in the hallway afterwards when we can go ahead and meet our department chairs, is students that come into Algonquin and then potentially leave to try maybe a charter school experience or private school experience, come back and or request to be a part of our extracurricular activities. So while you're here tonight learning a lot about our core academics, a lot also is with how we have many national honor societies. We have peer-to-peer tutoring groups and mentorships. We have a plethora of varsity sports. We really have a club for every student to really participate and enjoy in. Many of you have heard about our DECA accomplishments and our life skill DECA accomplishments for the entrepreneurship and marketing and business world. So as you navigate tonight and think about the course selections and the pathway that we want our children to take, which they will change 5 or 6 times on you within the course of high school. I haven't even gotten to college. We all know they're going to change it again on you. But think about how they could also find a connection to Algonquin. We do some really fun events where our 8th graders come and they play with, for example, our band students play together here at football or pep band, parade marching, just really making that connection to the community. So keep that in mind. If you're coming from private, it's a very different opportunity that we offer so much beyond the classroom and really push to create those connections with our community and the different attributes that students connect to. And then the last thing that I wanted to go over before I transition is there may be questions about how many AP courses do you offer? How many tests were given last year? How do you rank or rate against the state, against nationally? Where you are in your MCAS scores? Where are you on your ranking? How do you rank against private and parochial? I love numbers. I have all the numbers. I could go on and on forever, but I know Ms. Connor is probably giving me the look. So if you have a question or your focus is after you get all of your curriculum questions answered, have a follow-up question about some numerical items or just some wonderings, I will be around and about. Just stop me and ask me. But I really want tonight's focus to be on the coursework, the curriculum work, really the important graduation career pathways that Ms. Connery will talk about. And before I transition, please hold your questions till the end. That way Ms. Connery can get through all of the information. And then your question may be the questions that others have, but that makes sure that we have time for you to talk face-to-face with many of our students and faculty members, our department chairs that are in the hallways that some of you got to meet beforehand. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our head of guidance, Ms. Connery. She is a veteran staff member and one of the main reasons so many of our students are successful here at Algonquin. So Ms. Connery.
All right, so good evening and welcome. My name is Lisa Connery. You guys can call me Lisa instead of Mrs. Connery. So as the Director of Guidance, I will be working very closely with the middle school counselors to help transition your students to Algonquin. So if you have any questions, I would suggest, during this process, first I would suggest that you reach out to your middle school counselors because, of course, they know your student, far better than we do at this point in time, But, of course, if there's lots of times they will reach out to me with your questions for feedback, or if for some reason, they're unable to answer that question, they can direct you to you, and I'm always happy to help. I will also be, working with the middle school counselors and attending some of the transition meetings for our students who might be on a 504. There are some meetings where I might be attending for students on IEPs with our instructional support staff. So any questions that you may have, you can direct those to me, and I will help transition you through this process. When you enter the high school next year, your student will be assigned to a guidance counselor, and they will stay with that guidance counselor all 4 years here at Algonquin. And of course, we base that on, alphabetically, based on caseload sizes and stuff. So we'll take care of that in August. So when you come in August, you'll be officially assigned to a guidance counselor. And in the meantime, you can just reach out to me with any questions that you might have. So we have a lot to cover tonight around course selection and the course selection process. So we'll get on our next slide here. I'll just quickly go over our timeline. So we start this process right now. I will be communicating with the middle schools, sharing with them our program of studies as well as the course selection sheets, which you all have a copy of tonight. I'll be sharing any updates around the process with them as well, and I know that they will be working with your teachers to start the process of getting teacher feedback and teacher recommendations, and then having conversations with your students. I know they go into the classroom and they do presentations on the course selection process and elective opportunities that students might have. So they will help guide you and your student through this process for in the individual process to help meet the needs of your students. So we'll start that now. And in March, for all incoming students from private schools, I do have a letter out there. We will be holding registration appointments in March. It's March, 12th and 13th. So you will need to schedule a registration appointment. You can utilize the course sheet that you currently have and share that with the teachers of your students at the private schools for feedback on course levels and recommendations. And of course, if you have any questions beforehand, please feel free to reach out to me. When you come for your registration appointment, along with any of the required documents that you need to register with our district, you should also plan on bringing that course selection sheet along with the recommendations from the private school teachers, okay? So that will happen in March along with the course process at the middle schools. We spend from like April till August working on the master schedule, assigning teachers in sections, and then in August, we will release schedules for all students. And we do everything online, and we'll be communicating this out with you in the summer. So everything is online now. We will be providing you and your student with iStudent and iParent accounts. So when schedules are released, your students will be able to go online and they'll be able to see their schedule for the coming year. We'll also be holding an orientation, and that will happen, a few days before we start school. And we'll be utilizing our peer mentors to guide the students kind of through a day in the life here at Algonquin. So we'll go over their schedule in the locker, in the cafeteria, and all that good stuff that will help them, feel more prepared to come here. Of course, the first couple days, they're going to be a little bit nervous as they, enter the high school because it is a bigger school than the middle school. But trust me, our upperclassmen will help guide them in the halls if they're lost. Our teachers will, wait a couple minutes if they're a few minutes late getting to class because they got lost. But we do have a process, and we will help you to transition, and we're really excited to do so. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about, what you should be thinking about as you plan your program. Now you will see on the yellow handout that I provided to you on one side is the course selection sheets, and you will be getting a course selection sheet from the middle school with teacher recommendations on it. On the back side, you're going to see that we have a 4-year course of study, all right? And I really like the 4-year course of study because what it does is it outlines all of our graduation requirements and what a typical student would be taking during a given year. So you can utilize the 4-year course of study to kind of follow along as I'm talking about the different requirements for graduation and for the departments. And typically a student can be scheduled into up to 7 classes at a given time. Normally a student will take between 30 and 35 credits each year. With full year courses counting for 5 credits and semester courses counting for 2.5. You'll know on the course selection sheet that the credits are kind of outlined, so you'll know if a course is considered a full year course or a semester course. Let's see. So some things to think about. I think one of the biggest things when you're planning the course selection for your student is really going to be the teacher recommendation and really heeding the advice of the teachers. If you have questions about, kind of balance for your students' course selection or a teacher's recommendation, I would direct you to the middle school, because the guidance counselor and the teachers have been working very closely with your students, so they're very familiar with their strengths, maybe areas of weakness for them, and they can give you some very good feedback to help you balance the overall course selection for your students. I'm always happy to answer general questions, but sometimes it's hard for me to give you specific feedback on your student, not really knowing your student, having never worked with your student. So if I can offer any advice, it would be to heed the advice of your students' teachers. Try to bring some balance to their overall course load as they enter the high school and begin to meet the higher demands and rigor of a high school program. One thing that's going to come up as you're looking at balancing your course selection is going to be, whether or not your students should take honors courses or college prep level courses. Should they take all honors courses? Should they take all CP courses? These are very individual questions that are really based on your student. Kind of where they're at from a skill perspective, where their interests lie, all right? And so I think one of the biggest questions is, parents will often ask us, like, should they take an honors course or a CP course? Is it better to take an honors course over a CP course? And I always say to parents, well, tell me a little bit about your student. Is your student already spending, 5 or 6 hours a night on homework? Are they in tears at the end of the night because they're struggling with a particular content area? I think sometimes if a student is spending excessive amounts of time that are then impacting their overall well-being, whether it's sleep, whether it's their emotional kind of well-being, then I think you really have to, bring some more balance to the overall course load. We all have strengths. You're going to go out into the hallway. You're going to meet all of our department heads. Each and every one of us in this building have a preference. I'm not up on H300 teaching math for a reason. It's not that I'm not good at math. It's not that I wasn't good at math, but that's just not my passion, And it's the same with maybe the science. We have our science teachers teaching chemistry for a reason. As Leah was saying, your child is going to be on a journey over the next 4 years, and they're going to begin to identify their strengths, their passions. And it's so important to challenge yourself appropriately in those areas and bring balance in the other areas. We might have students who are very strong in math and science, but maybe writing in the English class is a challenge for them. So they might take honors, math and science, CP English, right? Vice versa. We might have somebody who really loves reading and writing, and they challenge themselves in English and history, and then they decide, I think I'm going to take CP math class. And it's all about understanding your student and their strengths, and then balancing things accordingly. All right, and making sure you're maintaining just some overall wellness. They should be getting rest. They shouldn't be in tears at the end of the night over homework, okay? So just take all that into consideration as you're starting to select the courses for your student in freshman year. All right, elective courses. You're going to find, we will be sharing out the program of studies. You're going to find we have a wealth of elective courses, and I will share some of them with you as we move through this program. Your student is going to have a lot of opportunity to explore their interests, to try a lot of new things. Aside from academic courses, electives are a great opportunity to have a break in the day, to bring some balance to your day. After, like Leah was saying, she's taken some AP and some honors level courses, but then there's that art course. So I'm sure as you're going through your day, Leah, you're you're doing your math and your science classes, and then you get to art, and it's such a stress relief, and you're like, oh, yeah, I really like this, So it's a different experience from a learning perspective. It's a great way to express their creativity. It's a nice break in the day. So I really would encourage your students to look at the elective course offerings we have. Lots of times students will think that they can't take an elective because somehow that's going to reflect negatively, from a college perspective, and that is not true. We have tremendous success in getting our students into college each and every year, and many of our students are engaged in all kind of elective courses. So it's really about bringing balance. As long as you're enrolled in those core content areas of English, math, science, history, world language, your student is free to take elective courses beyond that they're interested in. All right, so in speaking about electives, so sometimes, students will be hesitant to take a lower level elective course because lots of those courses are at the college prep level. So even Leah, even though she's taking advanced art courses now, at some point had to take like Art 1. And so we created an exemption policy that allows students to exempt 1 full year or 2 semester non-required courses from their GPA. The reason we did that is because we wanted students to pursue their interest and to enroll in elective courses. So you're going to find on the course sheet, and your middle school counselors can help you with this. Let's say your student is really interested in art or photo, or maybe they want to take a ceramics or a cooking class, right? They can go ahead and they can enroll in that CP level course, and they can choose to exempt that course from their GPA, all right? And so if you have a student who's primarily taking all honors level courses and they're concerned that a CP course might negatively impact their GPA, they can choose to exempt that course from their GPA. Now, it's important to remember the course still shows on the transcript. So sometimes we have students who are like, we'll call them down. We're like, okay, like it's not going very well in that elective. What's going on? Well, I exempted it. And I'm like, you do still understand it shows up on your transcript, right? So the course and the grade will still show on the transcript. However, it's not calculated into the overall GPA, all right? So schools will still see that your student's pursuing their interest, but it will have no negative impact whatsoever on their overall GPA. All right, so we'll talk a little bit about graduation requirements. So your students, of course, are going to have to take the MCAS exam as part of their graduation requirement. So they will have to take 3 MCAS exams. In 9th grade, they'll take the biology exam. And then in 10th grade, they'll do the ELA and the math MCAS exam. And our students each and every year, our teachers do a phenomenal job preparing them. And I should really give credit to the middle school teachers as well because, they've been working with them all along and preparing them to take this test. So by the time they get to us, they're pretty well prepared. And our teachers do an outstanding job getting them ready to take that test in sophomore year. So we have fantastic results on the MCAS exam. So many of our students do quite well on that. All right, so aside from that, if you'd like, you can follow along on your 4-year course of study where it kind of outlines all of the different graduation requirements, and I'll just kind of run through these for you. So if you look closely, we'll see that for English, Jane Bitar is our English department head. She'll be out in the hallway answering any questions that you might have regarding English. But we require 4 years of English in order to graduate from Algonquin. So freshman year, we offer English at the honors or the college prep level. In 10th grade, sophomore English, again, we offer that at the honors or the college prep level. Then in 11th grade for junior English, that is offered at the honors, college prep, and at AP. Okay, so AP Lang would be an option for your student in junior year if this is an area of interest for them. You have to have a high level of interest to enroll in an AP course. In 12th grade, we again require a full year of English. This time they have a lot of options for elective courses. So many of the senior English classes are semesterized. And I'll share with you some of those. So they'll take 2 semesters of English. They have to take at least 1 semester literature course, and then they could substitute a writing course if they so choose. They also have the option of AP Lit to fulfill the graduation requirement. So 20 credits of English in order to graduate. Here's a list of a lot of the English elective courses that we have. Now, students, if they have a passion for writing, they can certainly pursue creative writing, writing workshop, journalism in 10th, 11th, 12th grade, okay? There's many literature courses that are available, like Romanticism, Silence Voices, Comedy Satire is going to be a new one we're going to be running, Contemporary Literature. So we have a lot of electives for students to choose from based on their interests. All right, so social studies. The graduation requirement is 3 years. We require US 1, US 2, and World 2. And US 1, freshman year, is an unleveled course, so all students will take the same course. I have to say our social studies teachers are doing a phenomenal job with the work with our freshman class. They help transition the kids here and really kind of develop their overall skills, reading, writing. So they're doing a fabulous job. 10th grade, it's US 2, offered at the honors or the college prep level. Students also have the opportunity to enroll in AP US History as a 10th grader if they're recommended by their teacher. 11th grade, it's World 2, again at the honors and the college prep level. And students have the opportunity to enroll in an AP level course. Again, your student should have a high level interest in social studies, history. It's going. There we go. In order to enroll in an AP course, all right? You can see that aside from the required courses, the social studies department offers a lot of great electives, whether it's AP government, AP human geography, AP psychology. You know, we're going to be offering a new race in America, criminal justice, Holocaust, psychology, sociology, history through film, great public speaking class. There's a lot of opportunity for your student to further explore their interest in the field of social sciences. So 3 years, 15 credits for history. And of course, we encourage students to go beyond the required courses and continue to enroll in those core content areas for college. And we will offer a lot of presentations over the course of your 4 years at Algonquin where we'll kind of continue to talk about that, you know, what's required to graduate, and then what we recommend for college admissions. All right, the math department requires 3 years of math, and that is going to vary depending on your students' skill set and interest in math. So some students might come in doing Algebra 2. Many students come in doing Algebra 1, either at the honors level or the college prep level. And I strongly encourage you to heed the advice of your middle school math teacher in regards to what level your student should be enrolling in math. But we require 3 years. So if your student comes in at Algebra 2, then their path would be Algebra 2. Then geometry at the honors or the college prep level. They then would move on to pre-calculus and then on to either AP Calculus or Calc Honors. If they come in at Algebra 1, then they would do Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, and then pre-calculus. Students who are coming in at Algebra 1, if they would like the opportunity to accelerate through the math program, then sophomore year they could make the decision to enroll in 2 math courses doing Geometry and Algebra 2 that same year, and then they could go to pre-calculus and calculus depending on the student. Now again, your guidance counselor here at the high school, when you're starting to make those choices, is more than happy to have conversations with you about your student and what their course selections are. The math department also offers a variety of computer science electives, whether it's Python or C++ or HTML. We have AP Computer Science A, Principles. So if your student is interested in computer science, we have plenty of opportunity for them to explore that interest as well. All right, so science, our graduation requirements, we require 3 years, 15 credits, and that sequence is biology, chemistry, and physics. We offer each of those courses at the honors or the college prep level. And again, your student will take the biology MCAS freshman year as part of their graduation requirement. Beyond just the requirement, we recommend that students continue to enroll in the core content areas, taking a 4th year of science their senior year in preparation for college. Our science department has a wealth of offerings, whether it's AP Bio, AP Chem, AP Physics, AP Environmental. We also offer great biotechnology at the honors or the college prep level, organic chem, astronomy, human anatomy and physiology, forensics, at the honors and the college prep level. So we have some very interesting science courses. So again, if this is an area of interest for your student, they're going to have a lot of opportunity. So 3 years of science is the requirement, and we recommend a 4th. All right, so world language. We do not have a world language requirement here at Algonquin in order to graduate. However, we do send the majority of our students off to college, all right? And so colleges do require world language as part of the admissions process. So the state colleges and universities require a minimum of 2 years of language, all right? So if your student will want to, if they are college bound, will want to enroll in world language. We offer Spanish, Latin, and French, and many of our students will be coming from the middle school having taken Spanish and French, all right? So many of our students will come in and they'll go into like Spanish 2 or French 2. Some students may make the choice to transition over to Latin, and they would start off with Latin 1, and then they would go Latin 1 through Latin 4 if they took it all 4 years here at Algonquin. So what we recommend, what guidance recommends, is that students stay in world language for a minimum of 3 years in high school. World language is the one area, it's like the gray area in the admissions process. So some schools have no requirement of language, and then more competitive schools look for 3 to 4 years. So we always encourage students, as long as it's going well, you're doing well, you're enjoying it, you should continue to remain enrolled in world language minimally through your junior year, because that's really when you're going to begin to look at potential colleges. And so we would hate for a student to get to that point and realize, wow, I haven't met the minimum requirement for admissions purposes, all right? And of course, if things aren't going well, then we can have a discussion about that. But for most of our students, they do 3 to 4 years of language in high school. All right, health and fitness is required every year, a semester every year. So health and fitness 9 is personal fitness. Health and fitness 10 is going to be more health-orient related. And then we have health and fitness 11 and 12, which again go back, are more fitness-oriented. But every student will take a health and fitness course every year here at Algonquin. It's a requirement. So that is a total of 10 health and fitness credits in order to graduate. They also have other elective courses that students can take. Like right now we're running a great weight training class, or they might want to take a team sports class. But those are courses that they can take in like 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. All right, we also require a few courses in the Applied Arts department. So one of those courses is Computer Essentials. All freshmen coming in will enroll in our Computer Essentials course. So you do have to take that course freshman year and fulfill those 2.5 credits. They also require economics to graduate, all right? And you can fulfill that graduation requirement by taking honors economics, college prep. We also offer a fantastic financial literacy course at the college prep level. And students can also fulfill it by taking AP economics, microeconomics, if that's an area of interest for them. We have a fantastic business program, so we do have a lot of students who are pursuing business degrees who decide that they, want to do the AP economics to fulfill that graduation requirement. So in addition to that, those requirements, we require minimally a semester of fine and performing arts or applied arts. So that's 2.5 credits to graduate, and that's the minimum. Most of our students have absolutely no problem whatsoever fulfilling those graduation requirements because we do have a lot of course offerings. You can see here's a list of our applied arts department offerings. I mean, we offer everything from nutrition and culinary arts to early childhood, wood tech, engineering with metals, video production, fantastic business courses, whether it's marketing, business fundamentals, sports and entertainment marketing, management and leadership. We have a ton. Corporate finance, right? Accounting. We have a lot of course offerings in the applied arts department, so there's plenty of opportunity for students to pursue their interests. And I think it's great because a lot of universities have, do a lot of work with their undergrad business students, because a lot of students just say like, well, I don't really know, what I want to major in, so I guess I'll just do business. And so they find once the students enroll into the college that, maybe really business isn't the path for them. So they do a lot of exploratory work to try to help guide students early on, those early business majors that might not be. But here at Algonquin, there's so many great course offerings that it's a great chance for your student to explore the possibility of business before they head off to college. So they kind of get a leg up from some of the other students that are that are heading off to college. Aside from applied arts, our fine and performing arts, Leah spoke, about her experience with the fine arts program and, all the art courses that she's taken. We have a fabulous fine and performing arts program. If your student's involved in band and chorus, and encourage them to continue, because that can be such a nice break in their day, such a great way to meet other kids that they might already know. And just, it can be very energizing. Music is energizing and relaxing. And so if they're in band and chorus, encourage them to continue. There'll be no negative impact whatsoever from an admissions standpoint. We also have a lot of select choral groups and bands. We offer music theory. And then from a fine arts standpoint, we have beginning piano and guitar as well. But from a fine arts standpoint, we've got art and advanced art and photo and digital photo and, ceramics and sculpture. There's so many opportunities for students. And I would just encourage you to have your student enroll in elective courses, because I think that it really is a great way for them to learn and explore and really kind of bring balance to their overall schedule. All right. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, our instructional support team, will be coming down to do transitional meetings with students and parents who, on individualized education plans. The guidance department will be coming down to do transition meetings for students on 504 plans. We have a lot of great supports here at Algonquin. Students can always take a study. So if you have a student who's coming in and they have a full course load, and let's say maybe they're an outstanding, soccer player or field hockey player, and they come in at the beginning of the year, and maybe they're a little bit nervous about being on JV, or maybe they're even, strong enough to be on the varsity team coming out of freshman year. But let's just say they're going to join the JV team, and they have a full load of courses that they're taking. It is okay if they take a study. That's okay. To bring balance to their overall day. You're going to see out in the hallway that we have our writing center. Algonquin Writing Center is here. Fabulous resource for students. It's peer tutors supporting students in their writing. And it's not you think writing, you think, oh, go down there for your English essay. They support students in writing across the curriculum. Whether it is you're a writing tutor? All right, Leah's a writing tutor. So they can give you guys some more feedback out there at the table, but it's also, about writing for, say, like a lab report or something, okay? And so Writing Center is a great resource. We have a peer tutoring program. So many of our students in the different content areas volunteer to tutor students. So if your student is struggling in math, you could complete a peer tutoring form and request a peer tutor in, say, math or science or English, whatever it might be, okay? So we have a lot of great resources, and we'll be talking individually with parents during the transition meetings about specific supports that their students, might require here at Algonquin. All right. So again, I've mentioned briefly about, our transition into the high school. We have orientation a couple days before school starts. Our peer mentors will work with the students to transition them into the high school. Our peer mentor leaders are also part of our U.S. history teachers, right? And so they also will work to bring the students into the classroom to continue the work with the freshmen when they first come into the school. So we will work with you to help transition and answer any questions that you might have. So at this point, I don't know if anybody has like a quick question that they would like to ask me. We're going to be transitioning out into the hallway where you can ask more specific questions of the department chairs. But if you have any questions at all, I'm more than happy to answer them for you. So the question is, if a student enrolls in a course and maybe the course is not going exactly the way they hoped it would, so I think it was two-pronged there. You were asking, is there a process for them to change courses, correct? And then you were asking if there's a process for them to change instructors. And so in regards to changing instructors, we do not do lateral changes for students. So that means teacher to teacher. So we do not offer lateral changes. However, we would encourage the parent and the student to schedule a meeting with the teacher to sit down and kind of talk about how things are going and maybe what could be, how they could help make things a little bit better. Different things the student could do, to help within the class. Now, sometimes it might be a matter of we might need to make a level change, for a particular student. And then, of course, we will work with the student. So if a student is in an honors level course, and has been recommended for that course, and they need to make a level change, then of course we will work with the student and the parent to make that change. I think it's important to understand, and this is why we were talking about the need to bring balance, overall balance to your schedule, is that sometimes when you have to make a level change 4 or 5 weeks into the school year, it can be a little disruptive to the schedule. So it might not be that we have a CP level math class at the same time that there's an honors level math class. So we might have to change a couple classes in order to kind of adjust the schedule, but we'll work with you to help with that. All right. And within the first few days of school, students have the opportunity, to make some adjustments, like to their, a lot of them make adjustments maybe to elective courses and stuff. Okay. Well, welcome. We're excited to work with you guys. I will be outside as well if you have any questions. So please feel free to head outside to talk with the department heads about specific questions you might have about their content area. Have a nice night.